This is Level Up Success Podcast with Neth and Truth.
Hey, how you doing, friends and family? This is the Level Up
Success Podcast.
and welcome to another episode where we always bring knowledge and power to our listener. So tell me, Nate, how we gonna do this now?
How you guys doing today, man? I'm very excited about today's segment today. We have a special guest, and before we talk about what we're gonna talk about today, I'm gonna have him introduce his name and his background for the audience who who don't know him yet. So why don't you give your name and your background?
Yes, my name is Jarvis. I'm originally from the Caribbean, but I've been in the U.S. since I was a kid, so I am a New Yorker. I guess you can say that.
All right. What part of New York were you raised in?
I've been living in the Boogie Down. Bronx,
Right.
that's the Bronx.
Yeah,
That's the
There you
Bronx.
go.
BX.
Yeah. BX represent.
Boogie
All right.
Down, Bronx, all the way.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is it that you do?
Well, I'm actually a fashion designer, of course. Been doing that for years. Won about 4 designers competitions with that. However, I've added to my doings painting, which is something I always wanted to do. It was always in the back of my head to do that, but I just never got to it. And in 2018, about December, I was washing my face in the bathroom, and I had a soap dish on the side, blue soap dish with pieces of brown soap, golden soap, which was sandalwood soap, and the brown was cinnamon, and white soap. They were full the pieces and with the water. And something kept telling me to look to the right, and I kept looking to the right, and I started seeing images in the soap dish.
Okay.
I was like, whoa. And that went on for a couple of weeks. I said, yo, I think God's trying to tell you something, man. So I sketched out the ideas that I saw. And one of the first sketches I saw was like a Hispanic guy with a big sombrero. And he was playing one of those instruments, we go,
Accordion, right?
Accordion, yeah. And he was serenaded a beautiful senorita, and she was just standing in front of him like this.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
Oh my God, he's doing this to me.
Hey, you got that calling.
Yeah, man.
You can't ignore that calling.
I mean, you never
telling
know
you.
where it come from, too. It just
Right,
came out of
right,
nowhere,
right.
like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I
awesome.
decided, I said, you know what? I think God's trying to tell you something. I sketched out the first idea, and I decided to do it in the bathroom where the ideas were coming. So I got, some paper that I normally do fashion on, and I sat in the bathroom and sketched out that couple on the beach with a beach background.
Okay.
And so I developed like about 25 ideas with people playing instruments on the beach. I haven't painted that collection yet, but that's the
Okay.
collection that I saw first. But for some reason, God keep telling me to wait up on that. Don't paint that
Okay.
yet. All this other stuff came after. So the original thing, I didn't even do that yet, but that's going to be off the chain. I got people on the beach doing crazy things, man.
Okay, man.
It's
Looking
gonna
forward
be
to that.
off the chain. So
Looking forward to that. Definitely.
that's what got me into the painting.
Okay.
That.
So, I mean, very excited to talk about your artistry and how you got started and what inspired you to do all these all these masterpieces. But before then, what I want to dive into more is into the fashion. Like,
Okay.
what got you into the fashion? Like, how did that go about?
Okay, the fashion. Okay, now this is gonna is linking in. Now years ago, I used to make jewelry,
Okay.
and I used to be on Fordham Road, 13 years old, selling my jewelry that I used to make, man.
All right.
And somebody saw me, and they said, no, like 3 years later, they saw me and they said, I'm going to be part of a fashion show. Maybe you can put your jewelry in the fashion show, man. And so I went to the meeting, And then the designer pulled out his sketches for me to match up my jewelry with the fashion.
Okay.
And this revelation hit me the same way like the paintings in the bathroom. When my man pulled out his sketches and I looked at them and we were going through matching up my jewelry with his fashion, I said, man, I can do this. I can do this, man.
It was light work.
Just like that, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do this because I could always draw.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was like 5 years old, I used to draw the other kids' stuff, artwork in school. I used to help them, you know? So I'm like, I can do this, man. So that night, the revelation hit me. I was filled with excitement. When I was going back home on the train, I started sketching, you know, box looking kind of, you know, but the idea was there.
Exactly,
the revelation was alive in me. And so when I got in, I told my aunt I'm going to start making clothes. She said, but you don't know how to sew. Who's going to make them? I said, me.
All right. So your mom's like, oh man, how is that gonna transition to
my aunt?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You see, what made it easy for me to say me is because my aunt, she sewed. So that was around me already. That anointing was around me. So you know, it was easy for me to transition and say, because that's, you know, that spirit was already, you know, there.
Yeah.
So I told her me, and never sewed before. And so when I sketched out, I remember I went to the Yellow Pages looking for fabric stores.
Okay.
Then I saw a whole bunch of stores together. I said, wow, they got a whole bunch of stores here together, man. That was the garment district. That's where I found it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I took the sketches that I drew out. And I said, well, I guess this is how designers do it. At that time, I didn't consider myself a designer. Just I guess maybe I'm going to take these pictures, go to the fabric store and tell them I want to match up, you know, get some fabrics to go with this stuff. And that's how I got that going. And I was, I did the show, had my jewelry. I was able to make 3 pieces, and I modeled in the show.
Okay.
And so it was awesome. That's what started. But, you know, when the show was over, I sort of, you know, like focused back into my jewelry. And I met this young lady who liked my jewelry and me too. So that was a package deal.
Okay, there you go. Hey, shout out to her, man.
Yeah, so
Right.
So she said, "Can you make me a skirt?" And I never made anything for anybody else, but I said, "Yeah, I could make you a skirt, man."
I mean, you gotta take that chance.
Yeah,
You gotta take, man. You,
Wait, so wait, do you call auntie like, yo, auntie, I need you to help me out with the
I'm telling you,
custom
man.
distress? All right.
I was like, yeah, I can make you a skirt. So she said, okay, let's go to the fabric store, and then we can figure out how many yards we need. So I went with her to the fabric store, and she checked the pattern book, and, you know, she wanted basically like a simple circular skirt.
Okay.
You know, it's just circle cut with a whole waistband, boom. So I went to the store, and I guess that's where my design started kicking in.
Okay.
Because I made the skirt, but with the excess fabric, I decided to make a top to go with it. So it was like boom, boom, you know?
Yeah.
Trapeze kind of look. And I made it for her. You know, she's just a little bit older than me. Cougar business.
Okay. All right.
I mean, they gotta have fun too. So
All right.
So I no, but not that old, you know.
Yeah.
So I made this. I mentioned that because she wore it to the. She was over this Head Start program, you know, with children at school.
Okay.
And she wore it there, and all her workers flipped out over the look. They wanted one too. And so I made them one, you know, and she and I stayed together for like about 2.5 years.
Wow.
You know, and she bought me my first sewing machine, man.
Wow. Man.
She called me up and she said, "Listen, Sears got they got a sale on sewing machines. You want me to buy you one?" I said, whoa, yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
free.
But what I'm saying is amazing how it happened because it all started you sitting down and in the middle of Fordham.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, man.
You have your jewelry that you're just trying to sell as a as an entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah.
And like all of a sudden you got people coming in. Hey, why don't you show your art? And then from there you transition to meeting somebody who want to purchase.
Right. Exactly.
And then you got all these customers now, man. Like,
I mean, remember, you missed the part that you took a chance of doing it first curve.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
Took a chance.
Yeah, so
took a chance.
sometimes you gotta take a risk just to see. People don't even know.
That's right.
Wow, man. That's that's amazing, man.
That's a great story to people to learn.
And we like our one of our previous episodes, we was just talking to a gentleman about like the how is it that you become like lucky, right? So sometimes it's not like the word lucky is a word that's very
I understand.
like the meaning of it is out there because sometimes to be lucky you have to already be prepared.
Exactly.
If you're not prepared, then you're not manifesting that luck aspect because a person he's an artist and you were talking about how there's one hit wonders. Those are really lucky because it's like
yeah.
But there are other people who are striving and working towards something till they get that viewership. Once they get that, if you're ready, then it's like that luck factor comes in because you have the work ethic. Without that, then it doesn't make any sense. You're not really lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, luck help, but you gotta have the ethic and you gotta know something. You gotta be prepared because you never know when more job will come out. Only because of one that skirt, you got more job.
Yeah. Well, and because of the way that her employees, the teachers reacted to what I made her. And remember, I didn't give her just a skirt. I made a top to go with it. Created a whole look.
Yeah.
And they flipped out over that whole look. And then she said, "Oh my God, Jesus, people will like what you're gonna be famous one day." So she was speaking into my life, man.
Speaking it takes existence.
Right off the top.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
And you put that extra effort, like you said. You think you had to do the top. He did it because he wanted to do that extra.
A whole vision, have a whole look.
Yeah,
the whole look,
So people will just do the bottom, but when you got the vision, like you said, the vision. That's the main. I think that's the main thing too.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, she embraced it, and the people liked it. I got other customers because of her.
Yeah.
And after that, I decided. I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Because people always trying to get me into music business.
Yeah.
If I was not being a designer, I would have been in the music business. So I used to hit all the clubs, man.
Yeah.
I used to hurt the floor.
Yeah. getting the attention of all those cougars, huh?
Oh man, man. Yo, I remember this young lady that I used to run with. She moved to California and she called me up. And we used to hang out in the club and people be like loving watching us and me going down doing the limbo and she not knowing I'm doing the limbo, she stepped right over me and I'm looking up, all I'm seeing is red.
Oh man,
because she has on leggings and
the
skirt and all that stuff. And so she called me up and she said, "You know something, man? If you had gotten into the music business, you would have been on the same level as Michael Jackson and Prince." I was like, whoa, that's a high honor, man, But I never told her I was interested in music. But she just saw the way people reacted when we went out dancing. And so she came to that kind of conclusion. And so even though I decided, you know what, I'm going to focus on fashion, I really wanted to do music. But when I found out how to get into it, I was already caught up with the fashion side. So, you know what, let's just focus here, man. Even though I did that, down the line, a couple years later, I started getting all this kind of music coming from, like I tapped into the musical realm where God started sending me tons of songs, man. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother interview. So I'm just touching on that just a little.
Man, I see some future interviews out here.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. So, I mean, let's dive in into... Oh, okay.
The artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's dive into the artwork. So, I mean, you already did tell us an introduction on how you got, into it, right? What you said you didn't drew what you actually dreamt in your mind, right? At first.
Oh, you're talking about when I first got the inspiration to start painting? Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
Because
the first.
Okay, no. What I was gonna say was, at first, there was the image you have for the beach that you haven't done yet,
right?
So, but instead of that, you started doing other work. So, what inspired you to do these other works instead of working on that? Like, how did that transpire?
A good thought.
Yeah.
When I sketched out all the ideas on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, the first thoughts with the music instruments, and I said, you know what? I need to create a simple series first, and sell it inexpensive, and then that money I can take that to pay for art galleries and stuff like that.
Smart.
That's where this came in at.
Okay.
This series is called the Empowerment Series. I sketched out, just some quick, simple things.
Yeah, we'll put it in the link.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
And we put it in the.
Yeah, I gotta make sure it show up in the video.
The whole idea with the Empowerment Series, you can say it's religious art or art that will help to inspire you. So and what I did, I made the brochure. I probably spent, and I had just them professionally shot. And I probably spent like about $3,000 for this whole process, man, between shooting the stuff.
You mind if I take a look at it?
Yeah, go ahead,
myself?
please. Yeah. And setting that whole program up.
Yeah.
But there's one side you can get with the scriptures, or you can get the other. You can get it without scriptures. So you can buy the same art with or without scriptures.
Okay, this looks really nice, man.
Yeah, and this one called The Formula.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thought that went into that one, because people are always concerned about their financial security. And so before I painted this piece, I took Bible scriptures that dealt with money and wrote it on the back of the canvas. A couple of scriptures, and then I painted over it.
Oh, wow.
And certain colors here are meant for money attraction. And so you see a lot of 8s. And that 8 is a money number. And I've got on this $473 on it, actual money.
Okay.
Is on this one. Went to the bank, got crispy new bills that's never been touched, And so this has that around it.
That's amazing.
And I call that the formula.
Okay.
Because there are prayers that went into this, creating this, so people can connect with that. And the idea about this, I decided to sell this inexpensive and sell it as prints, where people can order prints in different sizes.
Okay.
And just learn. There's there's a prayer that went into all of this.
All right.
And there are various ones called Covered. There's was a link to Psalm 91. For especially during the pandemic, a lot of people were saying that was people's Psalm 91, to be protected and feel covered, So doing this first collection, it led me into the idea as I did that. It's like I was inspired. God told me, well, create a collection on peace and love.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So now I'm seeing he's taken this somewhere. You know what I mean? Because up to now, I've not even painted the first collection. That it's just musical stuff. But the other stuff that came after focus on a place for people to be, a mood for them to get into, be more peaceful.
Exactly.
So that collection, now you got me touching this.
Definitely.
This is relating to global peace and love, of course, unity with all religions.
Yeah.
So the three major religions are on this one.
Okay.
And so, this isn't a collection by itself. There's 6. I focus on 16 because that's a God number. 6 and 1 is 7.
Okay.
So I will do a lot of sketches for each series, but I went through the painful moment of having to decide. Just 16, man. Even if you got 19, break it down to 16. I want to stick with the formula. You know
I
what
know,
I mean?
because it's hard when you create stuff
Yeah,
to pick a
man.
favorite.
Yeah.
It's like people tell us all the time when we're doing an episode. So what's your favorite episode? Oh my God! I mean, we love every episode
Yeah,
we done.
we love all of them, man. All of them,
Yeah,
all of them
yeah.
is unique, and all of them we learn something.
Right.
So yeah. So I have a question for you. What like how strongly do you feel about like paradigms and manifestation?
Oh, that's an interesting question, man. Oh, man, you're taking me out there. Well, you know, I remember reading this book about the paradigm years ago,
Okay.
which dealt with a whole different sort of topic. So I'm just going to, because there was some things they were saying in that book.
Yeah.
It was about a half an inch thick sky blue book that were telling people. Okay, I'm gonna keep this light, man, because now that's gonna get into some other stuff, man. You mentioned paradigm.
No. I mean, the reason why
Go ahead,
the
go
reason
ahead.
why I asked the question is because, you know, like I'm seeing you know, like your artwork, and you know, I'm paying attention to the formula.
Right.
And you know, this is something that if like somebody were to buy this, is because they're trying to manifest something into their life.
Right. Exactly.
And they're gonna shift the paradigm
Yes, sir.
within it. So that this is something. This is like a symbol that would help that cause.
Right, exactly.
So that's why that question came to
Okay,
mind. So that, you know,
okay.
that's why that's why I asked the question, because
Well,
I believe
This,
you know, yeah.
these are coming from a prophetic place.
Yeah.
Because I used to be one of the house prophets with this church
Okay.
for like 7 years until I left. So when they say normally when you meet someone who's on the prophetic area of life or prophetic, when you meet the prophet, that means your life is getting ready to change, because
Yeah.
the prophets, they spoke for God, you know, and they can speak life into your whole situation. If it's going crazy, they can say, well, I see it where you're not going to deal with that no more. You know, this is going to happen for you good from now on. The whole idea is for you to believe, because it also says in the Bible, believe the prophets, you know, and
Yeah.
you'll prosper. Chronicles 20:20, you know,
Okay, yeah.
believe in my prophets. So, and the prophets were very close to God's heart because they were his mouthpiece and they spoke for him. In the order, I believe the prophets is the first one, you know, when in the gifts and the stuff that God gave. So all this is prophetic, and this is all relating to, I think, part of my purpose.
Okay,
I know I'm a
yeah.
designer, and I'm looking at how God has been unfolding this whole thing through art. I did this, then he told me, okay, I want you to design to do a collection talking about peace and love. So there's 16 pieces of that
Yeah.
that collection. And I don't have any of it here on the table.
Okay.
But
Nice.
it's all relating to peace. And then I was at a graduation a couple of years ago. I also went to seminary too. That's a whole nother story.
Okay.
So when I was at the graduation, the Spirit told me, tell this pastor that you're painting now. And so I showed him that I was painting. He said, I want you to get me some globes that I want to put up in the church here, like 3 in the pulpit. And so I decorated them with things, and with like cross and peace signs and stuff. And when that was over, you know, I did that, and then I realized people love the globe. You know, when I did my research, people liked the idea of the globe, but I added, I added things to the globe, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
I
see.
added things to it. So from the reaction I was getting, and then after I did those globes for him, and then I was showing the globes to people, and they, you know, small frame, you know, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And people say, well, are you going to put some of these on canvas, man? These are real nice. You can put them on canvas. And so I said, Dag, I'm getting tired. I've been painting for two years. Every Saturday night painting, and now they want to add more stuff to it, man.
All right.
You know, because the thing is, when God gave me the idea to start painting, I said, when am I going to find time to paint? And then I heard do it on Saturday nights. So every Saturday night, I will start painting. You know, I took time the same way on Saturday nights. I do the sketches. I've got like about 6 collections that are not even painted yet. So far, I've done like 4, you know. But the whole idea is this, I see where God is taking this somewhere. It's on peace and love.
Yeah.
And then the whole idea is the global thing. Like he told me to, I'm doing a global thing, but that's something else. You know, I'm going to get into that later. But I saw where all these globes, there's a purpose as to why I'm told to paint the globe, and it's got praying hands on it. I've got the globe where it says peace and love around the world.
Yes.
You know, it's written out around it. You know, like the Venus, light going around Venus. And then I got it in other ways where it's a peace symbol, and you know, the logo that I'm using for the peace and love movement is the peace sign with heart and all that stuff on it. But that's a whole. But I'm saying that it's not just the paintings. There's something God told me to do with this whole thing.
Of course,
that's like off the chain, man. So it started with the globes, and there, like, I got about 43 of the small globes, and then I painted the bigger ones on canvas, as people said. I said, well, maybe I'll just do 9 pieces. And as I got into it, God said, no, do the 16 formula, 16 pieces. I'm like, dang, man, I got to stay on top of this.
You got to be disciplined, man. You do your 16.
On top of it, man. So,
right.
like this one, this one is on a 30 by 40 canvas.
Yeah, okay.
This is just a print, so people can buy the prints, you know, which is much cheaper.
You could show it to,
People can get the print. This is a print. This is a 11 by 14 print. So I was obedient and painted a few of the globes on a large canvas. Large canvases. The largest canvas I painted was 60 by 48. Now that has a bird on top of the globe with a peace sign hanging in its beak.
Wow.
Because that's the whole message, you know, of peace and love. So after I painted all that, then he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to organize this whole thing a certain way. So I'm working on that right now. I'm not getting too much into it, but I'm being obedient with that, man. There's some other things around this whole thing that I'll let you know about later when I see you again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, like, approximately, like, how long would it take you to paint, you know, one of these arts? Like, how
well,
like,
okay. When I get into something, I really get into it, you know. So I map out the plan, and I would try to do at least one per weekend.
Okay.
Then there were times I was able to do 2, according to how simple it was. You know, but there are times I'll find myself, I may start working on one piece at 12 midnight, and I'll stay up until 12 Sunday morning, man.
Wow.
Just to finish it up, you know, because I want to stick with that program of 1 per weekend. You know, so.
Oh, that's discipline, man.
Yeah,
that's
serious.
discipline.
Yeah.
I know you usually do it on the weekend, but has there ever been a time that during the week you get a conversion and you just have to do it on the spot?
Okay, well,
I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I've been pretty disciplined, you know, and discipline comes with responsibility too.
Yes.
So there were times, you're right, I was so excited to get a piece done, I'll tap over into Monday, man, you know. But Monday afternoon, I may wrap it up early evening, you know, because I just want to see it amongst the others completed. You know, and I just, you know, when you start the whole process, you may say, wow, man, this is a lot to do right now. But it felt good each time I completely want to put it with the others. Just say, okay, this is done. This is done. You know, you got to trust the process and go through what you got to go through to get it done, man.
Yeah.
You know, so, Yeah, but yeah, there has been times, but I was disciplined. I said, no, it's Wednesday. I got to stick to the program, man.
No, the only reason I ask, like I was saying you before, I like making music. If there be time there, I'll be like, oh no, if I don't get it down right now, I can forget.
Right,
So
right,
that's the only reason I asked.
okay.
I was wondering if it's similar with the. I mean, it should be similar, but I figure it might be similar.
With the art, the thought is already on paper. Like all of these was sketched out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper.
Oh, okay.
And then I transferred it to the canvas. I draw it out, and
Got it. Oh.
so that process is already. It's already down a certain way, but not complete.
So it's like a draft. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I have drafts. When I say they're collections that I still have to paint, they're all drafts on where the idea is down, and then I make notes and say, well, the wing or whatever this part is going to be, the colors I'm going to use are blue for that skyline and whatever, So all my notes are there. So even if it take me a year to get to some of those pieces already sketched out, I got notes because I understand when inspiration comes, you got to jump on it right away. Yeah. You try to get back later, you may not remember, what God was telling you at that time. You know,
I mean, it makes sense because like when I get idea for music, I would like if I got an idea, I know I cannot make it. I will hum it or record it myself.
Right.
So I'm guessing the process for this it should be similar.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. With the music thing, I totally get what you're saying because I've learned like there are times if I were to wake up with a song in my head, from a dream, because I get songs from dreams, and I'll come out and there are times even when I'm getting the song in a dream, I will not get up, and then I lose it. Or when I get to, if I may remember the chorus, the fullness, the essence is not all there because you didn't jump on it right away when it was all coming to you. Yeah. So I've learned when I'm getting inspiration for the music to just put it down right away, so traveling on the road with my fashion thing, do fashion business, I started working with a tape recorder, man.
That's a great idea.
There you go. That resolves that issue.
Yep.
So are there any times where you feel like, man, I just don't like feel like doing this? Like, do you get that feel?
I'm hearing you. Because I had set time aside, to, be disciplined about just doing this on Saturdays. I didn't touch the other days. It was like Saturday. So I did what I had to do now. I painted, since all this started, I did about 43 of these small globes.
Okay.
As I was told, and then I did 16 of the big globes on canvas, which is all part of this. And then I did another collection that's dealing with peace and love, where it's different scenes and some people involved, with there. So within the past 2.5 years, just focusing on Saturday nights. Oh yeah, and I did this, of course, 16 pieces. 16 here, 16 here, 16 there. So that's 48 pieces, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 48 plus 43 of these. Yeah. So all that was done focusing on Saturday nights, about 2.5 years, man.
Okay, that's awesome. Because what ultimately what I'm trying to get. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But so to say I don't feel like doing it, my mind was already set. Saturday's coming. If we're in town, we're doing it. Yeah. If I'm not in town, then I can't do it. But Saturday night is coming, and that's my night to paint. So no hanging out, no going nowhere. Any invitation, beautiful senorita. Hold up, baby.
You gotta hold on, man. You gotta hold on, good guy. All right, awesome. So no, ultimately, what I was trying to get out of that question was, like what makes you disciplined to actually continue. So I mean, what I've gotten basically on what we're talking about is like you put yourself in a position where, okay, since Saturday's the day, I could be lazy, I could do whatever, like these, throughout the whole week, but Saturday, mamacita, I'm sorry,
that's it.
Not
that's
today.
Right. That's right.
This is
that's
my
right.
time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
That's
you
right.
you created a space where you're now like disciplined, like, and now it's just like that is just a normal routine now.
No, exactly. Right. It becomes part of the program.
Exactly.
I know, because you do get programmed the more that you respond to your responsibility.
Yeah.